My name is Catie. I am the music director of WSBU FM, The Buzz, and I have the absolute honor and pleasure to being with Charlotte Sands. I'm so excited. I first saw you on TikTok with your song Dress that absolutely blew up on there. And then I was able to see you at Sad Summerfest in Pittsburgh, which
No
was
way.
awesome.
That's amazing. Thanks for the intro. It's so good to see you again.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into this. Let's just like jump right in. So what first inspired you to start playing music and making music?
Honestly, I feel like a ton of that came from my family. My family was always just like very musical, in the sense of just always playing music and like new albums. And my dad is still in bands and a very musical person. He plays guitar and drums and all that stuff. So we would always kind of have somebody in our family like playing an instrument all the time. And I think that honestly, I think it started as a way to meet for me to like bond with my dad. I honestly think it was like that thing that I was like, oh, my dad loves music. I'm going to do it too so that I can like hang out with him more because he's so cool. And yeah, I just started doing that and we just started recording my songs when I was like 9 years old. And I learned how to record myself and kind of do all that stuff and started playing guitar. So I've been doing it for a long time, but yeah, I definitely think it's just started from my parents and them being really open to like being creative and all that kind of stuff. I'm super lucky.
Yeah. What was the first instrument you learned how to play?
Guitar. My dad taught me how to play guitar. I'm super stubborn though, so I'm really bad at like taking direction from people. I'm getting better at it. But I would like look up YouTube videos and learn how to play, and then also look up YouTube videos on like certain songs that I loved at the time that would like teach you how to play those songs, and just started practicing those songs and kind of doing that.
Awesome. So do you think growing up in like a musical family like that kind of influenced the like style that you picked up as you started making your own songs?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up on more of like the folk singer songwriter thing with like Bonnie Raitt and Sheryl Crow and Grace Potter and like all these really cool like female writers and artists. And it was so cool because I think that's kind of why I write the way I write, is I've had so much respect for their like storytelling, and it's not just about like make something super catchy and do this or this. It's always been like the lyrics and the song have to be good by themselves and be able to stand alone. And my dad always used to say, if you can't play a song by itself on guitar or piano or one instrument, it's not a good song. And that's kind of stuck with me. And the storytelling, like songwriting aspect is really important. And I think that's 100% just because I was only listening to those artists my entire like upbringing.
Awesome. So your music writes a story. So obviously you've had your EP that came out that told your story. How would you say that your process for that was?
Um, my process for that, it was kind of random. It basically wasn't on purpose that like all these songs kind of came together. Like I never wrote them with the idea that it was going to turn into a project, but over time it kind of was like I started realizing that all the songs that are now on the project, they were all kind of different perceptions and different like roles of the same relationships and like the same feelings. It was just kind of like like different views of it, which I thought was really interesting because like there's some that are like happy and like I don't hate my ex-boyfriend, and then there's some that are like you absolutely broke my heart, and then there's all these different like perspectives of the same feelings, which I thought was a really cool thing, instead of just having the same narrative throughout the entire thing. So yeah, we wrote all those songs separately, and then there always just felt like there was like this one thread through all of them, and we just kind of decided to put them together, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, it's like awesome. Like I play your music on repeat all day long.
Thank you so
I'm
so
not even lying. It's definitely a staple in like my shows, so people have to get used to that.
much. You tell them.
So for those who haven't like heard anything by you, how do you like self-describe your music?
It's a great question. It's always so hard for me because I think that people have so many words in like genre wise that they all take differently. So like for me, a lot of people are like pop punk, but I personally don't think my music is really pop punk. I I think that like punk music is like so cool, and my version of pop punk is different than like the new age version of pop punk. So I think maybe it's the new age version, but I don't think it's like my own version. But I definitely feel like it has like some rock influence. I think like lyrically, it's like kind of singer songwritery, which is weird. Kind of like folk inspired, and then honestly, like the drums, I think that the drums are such a big part of all my songs. We like record a lot of them live or use live samples for all of them. My producer, who I use for most of my songs, is also my drummer. So we kind of have this like cool way of like tying in live drums and stuff into everything. So that's really important. So I would say kind of like, I don't know, I guess pop with a folk lyricism and then rock elements, and just like a really energetic show, and quality, trying to keep those quality lyrics and then make people have fun even when the songs are really sad.
You definitely did put on a good show. I went to so I saw you at the Pittsburgh show on Sad Summer Fest, and I remember going to your merch booth, and I think it was Dannon's mom was
Oh my
there with
god,
the homemade t-shirts.
yes, oh my god. So yeah, Dane is my drummer, and we ran out of merch on like the second show, so his mom flew in and made like 100 tie-dye t-shirts by hand, so that we could sell them at the merch. And she sold them. She stayed there. It was so fun. We sold like more merch that day than any other day, just because like she was the sweetest person ever, and I feel like everybody was like, how can I say no to this wonderful woman? Yeah, it was so much fun. That was bringing moms on tour is a dream.
Yeah. So obviously you sold more merch than you were expecting to, which just goes to show like how awesome a performer you were.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
I think that's like one of like my favorite stories that I've heard that I've able to like kind of be a part of. I got one of those
Yeah.
t-shirts too.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And then, well, the funny part is, so after that show, we ended up having to drive back to Nashville before the next few shows. And we had to, like, we were almost out of those shirts again. So I had to make 100 more with her for the last two shows. So we stayed the one day I had off that entire run. I was in the backyard of their house with Danon's mom, just hand tie-dyeing every single shirt and socks. And we made stickers, we made all this stuff. It was like 13 hours. And then we got right back in the car and went back on the road like at like 2 a.m. So it was crazy, but it was so much fun. It was worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously you were on the last leg of that tour. How did that happen? Like, was that planned?
No, not at all. So it was like honestly one of the craziest things that have ever happened to me. Basically, I remember like Wednesday, I think I was supposed to be playing Bonnaroo that weekend. And we had a conversation about the Sad Summer tour before, but my hometown show for that tour would be in Worcester, Mass. And that was like on the day that I was playing Bonnaroo. So I was like, there's no way we'd be able to do this. And also that would suck. I wouldn't be able to play my hometown. And they brought on another opener that was amazing. And so I was like, I'm playing Bonnaroo. It's going to be so much fun. And then Wednesday, Bonnaroo got canceled because of like a tornado or something crazy. And I was absolutely devastated. It was like my one little glimpse of hope that I had been like waiting for. Like so many other artists were just like, at least we're playing Bonnaroo, at least we're playing Bonnaroo. Like we were just holding on to that like dream for a really long time. And when that canceled, it was like really heartbreaking. And then I was like, okay, we have to figure out a way to play a show this weekend for all the people who are supposed to go, for all the artists who were going to play there. Like, let's keep our like hopes high. Let's do this. So we ended up booking another show for that Sunday. And not even an hour after we booked that show, we got a call saying like, hey, our opener fell off this tour. is there any way that Charlotte would want to be able to be in Massachusetts in like 24 hours? And I live like 17 hours away from Massachusetts. But the crazy thing is my first show for the Sad Summer Tour would have been in like the town 20 minutes away from my hometown in Mass. And I was like, I can't say no to this. It's like All Time Low is like my favorite band ever. And I used to sneak into their shows in Massachusetts when I was like 16. So I was like, this is crazy. We ended up I had to get replaced on that other show. And then we literally got in a van like 7 hours after we got that phone call and got in the van and drove to Massachusetts.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. It was a wild turn of events, but like absolutely terrifying the whole time. I was like, what am I doing? I haven't played an actual show in so long. I'm not prepared for this. We didn't even have like a set created for those shows. We literally created it like in the green room before we went on stage at the first show. And like, we 100% just threw everything together. And thankfully I have like the best team around me. They were like, we will make it happen. Whatever we got to do, we'll do it. And we figured it out and it was so much fun.
So that's awesome. I'm at like, just being able to perform like on the same stage as some of your favorite bands, that's got to be something like wild to feel.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that I've always been like, one day I'm gonna open for All Time Low, and then for like my first tour ever to be on like the same list as them is like so insane for me, because I was like, one day I'll make it to that point. I was like giving myself a few years, and then like the next day I get like a phone call. It was really, really wild, but like couldn't be happier. They're all the nicest people ever. And everybody was just like so kind and welcoming and supportive of me. So I'm like, I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity.
That's awesome. So obviously that was like one of your first shows ever coming out of this pandemic. So how else has like the pandemic affected you? Has it changed how you wrote? Obviously it changed how often you perform.
Yeah. It's changed so much, good and bad. I mean, obviously the touring thing is really interesting because it's like that weird struggle of how to keep everyone safe, how to stay healthy the entire time, make sure because if a band member gets sick or tests positive for anything, even if you're all vaccinated or whatever, you still have to get off the tour. So it's like this really tricky thing of like, how do you engage with fans and want to like do meet and greets or all these things, but also stay healthy and safe and like not possibly lose out on like the biggest opportunity of your career. It's really scary. It's like really weird and uncomfortable, but at the same time I'm like just lucky that I'm getting to play shows and a lot of people aren't, so I try to remember that. But I mean, the pandemic definitely changed so much. I think the really cool thing that happened was people had to find so many other ways to write songs and make music, and I've written with so many people I would have never written with because one of them's in South Africa and the other person's in London, and we would have never normally had a session together unless we were both like, hey, are you going to be in LA these dates? Are you going to be in Nashville these dates? Unless it didn't work out like that, we would have never been like, let's book like a Zoom session. That would never have existed. And now I still do that with people, even that I live in the same city as. I'm like, oh, why don't we just hop on Zoom really quickly and we'll figure out this part of the chorus? It's so natural for people, and it really does make it feel like you can make music and do this from anywhere. There's less pressure to be in specific cities, or you can go home, you can get rest and still be doing sessions and like that kind of stuff. It kind of took the pressure off of having to be in the middle of it all the time to succeed. And so that's been really cool. It's been challenging to figure out how to write songs without like feeling the energy of the room all the time and the people, and like, to like hug everybody and like be able to become friends like that. But it definitely, the challenges I think only make people better and stronger and more capable of moving forward, like writing better songs. And so I definitely think that there are pros as well as all the cons that obviously came with it.
Yeah. And then very like obviously another thing that came from this pandemic was the rise of TikTok, which is how I found out about you. And I think a lot of people found out about you that way.
It's so crazy. Yeah, TikTok is like the weirdest thing ever. I am 100% one of those people that put it off as long as possible and was like, I'm never going to be a TikToker. I am never going to have TikTok. Like, it was just such a hype that I felt like I naturally was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, everyone's trying to put their music on TikTok. I'm not going to do it. And then I remember my management and I just having a conversation right before Thanksgiving, like last year. and they were just like, hey, like you're not reaching a ton of people that you could easily reach. Like you're just like, not that I was being like stubborn, but they were like, you could be taking advantage of a platform that could like, you know, get you in front of a ton of people and get you a ton of like new relationships and friends and like all this stuff. And they were like, you just try it, see what happens. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I was like, that's not who I am. And also like the thing that was hard about that time period is that like that was probably the lowest I was for my like self. And like that was like the 1 year into COVID or 2 years officially, I don't know. But I was like, I just remember being like a shell of myself and being like, I can't go onto a platform and like put out my personality right now because like my personality is like non-existent, you know. When I think we all went through phases like that. But it was like a really hard thing for me. And then one day I was like, I'm just gonna make one and show them that it's not gonna work. And then I made the dress video, and I did not prove them wrong. I proved them right. And I just like was goofing around in the car on the way to see my mom for Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden that videos are blowing up. I had no idea what was happening. I didn't even understand like any of it yet. So yeah, we released the song like 3 days later, and then put out a video the next week and just really rushed to get it all done. But it was so much fun, and I met so many amazing people because of that song, and I could not be more grateful for them and for that entire platform. It's really cool. It's like a really cool way to just like meet new people. And yeah, I've found so many artists on that, and I've found so many friends on that and random stuff, and it's really wild. The world is a very strange place.
Definitely. I feel like every time I find a new artist these days, I'm like, oh, I heard him on TikTok first.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And I've had realized that like it actually transfers over. Like I think it's the only platform where like listeners and followers actually are like, they want to like follow you on everything else. If like people find me like when dress and all that stuff was doing well at the beginning, like it was in direct correlation with like how well my Spotify was doing. Like it wasn't just like, oh, everyone loves this video, but I had no action on any other platform. It was 100%, they were all linked. And like that's what's so crazy is that people will leave this platform to go to another platform to follow you on all of them and to like do all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't think there's any other social media that people are that involved in that like motivated to like follow people and artists and support them. And it's really, really cool. And yeah, I'm just like lucky that people like my song.
All right. So besides being a musician and now a famous TikToker, what else do you like to do like outside of the realm of things?
That's a great question. I am currently trying to be better at like finding hobbies. It's been really hard for me. I've realized recently that I'm like, I need to like have hobbies that don't involve music and like social media, because everybody needs like a break sometimes. And I'm honestly, all I've ever done that's like been really like helpful to me, I mean, I love to like draw and like paint and do like artistic like stuff like that. I kind of just get like bored after a while, if that makes sense. Like I'm so impatient that I'm like, that's fun for like 30 minutes, and then I'm like, what else should I do with it? I respect people who like can do that for a while, but I personally just like love outdoors stuff. Like I love hiking. I love anything that's like involving going outside. I think that's literally when I feel just like the most grounded and the most like human. And traveling and like that kind of stuff is just really the thing that like kind of refills my tank. So I'm trying to just do more of that like more often, and luckily I get to do a lot of that because of my job, but I'm trying to like make sure that I separate the two things and be able to do that like just for myself. So I've been trying to like go outside every single day and like do some sort of like walking or hiking or something, because it's like the only thing that kind of keeps me sane. So but as of right now, I'm like I need to find more hobbies. I really do. I tried to pick up like learning Spanish during like COVID. I tried to learn calligraphy. I was knitting. I did all of it. But yeah, I definitely, if you have anything, let me know. I'll pick up any hobby right now.
That's funny. I actually got into knitting like during the pandemic.
Really?
I like started making blankets.
Yeah,
I think everyone did.
Yeah, it's really relaxing. it's one of those things that I can like do, but then I'll just like be sitting there and I'll have like half a scarf finished and I'm like, I'm never gonna do this again.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. And then different question. I'm gonna change directions. What's an artist that you would like dream to like write a song with and collaborate with?
As of right now, Youngblood probably. He's just like so cool and just one of those people that I feel like is 100% unapologetically themselves and just so passionate about like bringing people together and making people feel accepted and like loved as they are. And I think that kind of energy is so important, especially as like up and coming artists with like younger fan bases. Like it is so crucial to have role models and people that are like, come as you are, like everybody is accepted in this venue, everybody's accepted to like do this. It's so cool, and that's something that I really strive for, and I think he does a really good job of it, so I would be honored to ever do anything with him.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like this scene is one of the more like accepting. You can really just come on stage and be whoever you want and be like welcomed in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I love so much about it. It's like so much like the weirder you are, the better. Like bring whatever energy, bring whoever you are. Like, and it's cool because like you would expect to go to these shows and just be like, everyone is like dressed a certain way or looks a certain way, but it's like not at all. Like, I mean, the new pop punk era is like people can be like preppy, people can wear whatever they want, and it's like, and they are just as excited. And it's really cool. Like we talk about it all the time with my team. I'm like, this is not what this was when I was going to these shows. And it's just like grown so much, and it's so much more accessible for everybody. Yeah. And I think that's like the main goal, is that everyone feels welcome, and everybody just like all the second you get to like these shows that you just know that everyone around you is like similar to you and like feels the same way, and that you guys can all kind of just like feel safe and enjoy some time together. And yeah, it's the coolest thing ever.
And then what is your favorite like memory to ever happen at a show?
Oof, that's so hard. Honestly, I think that I don't remember what show it is specifically, but during Sad Summer, I think that was the first time that I actually realized that like people were singing my songs back that weren't my friends. Like I've had shows in Nashville, but this was the first time I've ever played outside of Nashville, because I was supposed to be touring in like 2020, and those are going to be my first shows, and that was kind of be like the kickoff of like my career. And then obviously I didn't do that, and like for 2 years I hadn't played a show outside of Nashville, and so it was really crazy. All of those shows, I really went in being like, oh God, like people are gonna hate my music. It's like not the vibe, because I was so nervous. The bands after me were so cool and had such big followings and all this kind of stuff, and I was like nervous about it. And then I would like go on stage and I would like see I would have my in-ears in so I couldn't hear the audience, and I would see people's like lips moving, and I would be like, what are they singing? And then I would like take my in-ears out and be like, oh my God, they know the words to the song. Like it was really, really crazy. That's always only happened with like my friends who came to my shows, or like my family, or people who were in the front, and they were like, I know they know the songs, but having like random people just like screaming words, even if it's 3 people in an audience, like that is the craziest thing in the entire world. That like I still feel like they were just like making up words. I'm like, there's no way that they know these songs. It's so cool. I'm just like so grateful. That was definitely the coolest thing, is that every show it was like, some people would know different songs. Everyone would know Dress. And then all of a sudden the next show, like people would know this song more than Dress. And then it was just really, really cool. And I just felt like very like, I don't know, I was really, really grateful. And it was really fun.
Awesome. That's gotta be like the goal of a touring artist, just to stand up there and have people scream your songs for you.
Dude, absolutely. It's so cool.
All right. And then what's the best piece of advice another musician has ever gave you?
Best advice, honestly, I've ever gotten is you either play, you can play to you can play to empty venues in the start of your career or the end of your career. And I think that with so many people being so many TikTokers that are like, and all these things, and I'm not like discrediting them. There's a lot of really great artists that just like decided to start making music this year, and that doesn't like make them less of an artist. But there has been a ton more of like oversaturation in the music industry just for like up and coming artists, because so many of these people blew up on social media in the last 2 years and have never performed and have never done any of this stuff. And it's like, it takes a toll on you when you're somebody who's been like doing something for, 20 years. And it's hard not to feel like competitive or feel like, oh, I've been working so hard for this. Why do you just get to like make dances on TikTok and now you're like opening for my favorite artist of all time? It is like a hard thing. But then you have to realize that I put in all the work at the beginning of my career, and I put in years and years and years and years of work because I want to have a sustainable career. I don't want to get famous tomorrow. I don't want to be on, like at the Met Gala like next year. I want to like make progress every day and like slowly get to this place where I'm really proud and I feel comfortable, but not just get there overnight and then be like, I don't know how to do any of this, Luckily, I'm in the position where I like now know how to do everything and I'm like ready to go. But it takes a lot of like time and learning. And I think that that advice is just like to anybody. It's like, you're either going to play sold out or empty venues now or later. And I'm like, I would rather play them now in my career and then have like a sustainable career that every show there were people there, even if it's a theater tour, whatever it is. And then because there's a lot of artists right now that I think they get there so fast, but then it's not sustainable. And so they're going to end up playing to smaller venues on the back end of their career, which is like kind of my fear, is like losing anything, So yeah, I think that's like really helped me be like, you are on the right path. Take your time, breathe. You're good. Like, this is normal. This is a normal trajectory for you.
That's awesome. I've never heard something like that, but I think that's so true.
Yeah. I try to remind myself.
All right. And then is there anything that we can expect from you in the future? Like any special projects, any albums, tours?
Absolutely. I definitely will be releasing more music soon. Honestly, one of the next songs I'm releasing is like one of my favorite songs I've ever written. So I'm so excited about that. I played it at Sad Summer, if that's a hit. But we're releasing that, and I think we're going to be releasing a bigger project soon. I just have so many songs that I am like itching to get out, and I'm just like, why not just put them out? So we might be doing that, and then I will definitely be touring a lot next year. So I'm super excited to like be out playing shows, and hopefully I'll get to see you again, and it'll be so fun.
All right, awesome. Well, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for your time. This has been an absolute honor. I'm like really dying and fangirling on the inside.
Oh,
so thank you.
Thank you. So nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.